To the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltare, and this is Have Roots Will Travel. And yes, I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, I've been focusing my attention on telling the stories of these amazing women, whether it be les filles du roi or les filles mariées, the king's daughters or the marriageable girls. I've also been doing lots of other genealogy inspired videos, but this series is really near and dear to my heart. Today we're going to be diving into another episode of Les Filles du Roi. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can help the channel. One of the ways kind of helps you subscribe, like, and notify. The subscriptions are very important. They're completely free, and you just click on the subscribe. The like tells the stratosphere, those all important algorithms, that this is a video that people like, and that helps get the word out. And notify, of course, is for you, so you don't miss a single episode. And the next couple of ways are ways to help the channel itself grow. And we have the memberships now that are part of YouTube, and they start at 99 cents and go all the way to $24.99. All of you, whether you're at the low level or the high level, you will get access to all of the videos immediately. And that's something new that I started last month. And so all of you who are members get access immediately to all of that next month's videos. Plus, at each level, you get different perks and that sort of thing. And just have a look and see if it's something that would interest you. You also have on my PayPal. I have PayPal on my website that you can donate to. And also, if you like a particular video and want to show your support, you can actually do a super thanks and put in the amount you want. And that's also kind of like a tip for me. So thank you so much to those of you who have contributed to that. I love that. It's kind of like a little perk that I get every once in a while. So appreciate that. But with that being said, let's get started and get to know our Filles du Roi of this episode. Today we're going to be looking at Les Filles du Roi, episode 313, Marguerite Dusson. She comes to us from a viewer request, and when I looked in my files, there was also one of my dear friends, her husband, and his French-Canadian ancestry. So this one is for you. So let's explore Marguerite Dusson and what she brought to New France. Well, here's a clean slate. We know that she's born about 1656. We don't know in France. We assume it's France, and we certainly don't know her parents. Let's see what we can find out. She would arrive in New France aboard La Nouvelle France. She was just 14 years of age. No mention of a dowry. Well, we're batting 1,000 here because the groom that she selected and who selected her, he also is from an unknown location, and his parents are unknown. His name, though, was Jean Lavallée de Petit-Jean, and he's born 1652. We know that Jean arrived very early in New France. Look at him. He's a 13-year-old in the 1666 census. So again, we know that he was a woodworker, but that's about all that we can glean. We don't know when he came over. I suspect this was about the time he came, probably 1664, 65, and that was kind of normal at that point. So here we have the marriage sometime, and this is why we don't have the information, sometime in either 1670 or 1671, Marguerite and Jean were married at Sorel. We're pretty sure it was Sorel, and possibly, a priest was overlooking them and that sort of thing, an informal ceremony with the church's blessing, or perhaps it was they went somewhere else to be married. Not really sure how that would have worked out, but we believe that they married at Sorel. Sorel is actually the fourth oldest city in Quebec. It began in 1642 when Charles Montmagny, the first governor of New France, built Fort Richelieu against the Indian threats. That fort was destroyed in 1647 by the natives, but rebuilt by the Carignan-Seigneur Regiment in the 1665s. Pierre de Sorel was in command of a regiment of the Carignan-Seigneur and would become the first seigneur in 1672. So we can pretty well guess that Jean and Marguerite were among the very first early inhabitants of Sorel. We're going to have 5 children together. We have Jeanne, who would marry Jean Bertrand, but would not leave any descendants. We have Jean, who would marry Marie-Catherine Huss, and would have 9 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Françoise would marry Marc-Antoine Huss, the brother, of Marie-Catherine Huss. So we have a brother and a sister marrying a brother and a sister. And they would have 7 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. Catherine would marry Jean-Baptiste Chevalier and would have 9 children, all of whom would make it. And finally, we have Pierre Noël, who would become an engagé West as of 1703, but after that, we have no other information. This would be a case of sometimes a potential DNA connection at some point. Now, in the 1681 census, we see how young these folks are. Jean Lavallée is 29, Marguerite is 25, their children, Anne, Jean, Françoise, Noël, and Catherine. And we have 2 bêtes à cornes, which are 2 horned animals, 2 goats, 12 arpents valeurs, about 9 to 10 acres of land. Such a tragic loss. Jean would join the St. Louis Company, and he would be killed by the Iroquois during the very famous battle of Longue Point in 1692. He and Marguerite would have been married 22 years at this point. So the next groom that comes into her life, his name is Charles Venet dit Le Parisien, about 1649. We know this one is born in Paris, but we don't know anything about his parents. So other than knowing he's from Paris, and also that's his nickname, dit Le Parisien, we know nothing. This is just it's part of the mystery of this story. Charles would arrive in New France in 1665 with the Carignan-Seigneur Regiment, with the Nubia Company. He would marry Catherine Magnan and would have 7 children. Catherine would pass away in 1694. And again, we do not have any marriage record. Sometime in 1694, the marriage between the widow and the widower took place at Sorel. So Marguerite would pass away on July 20th, 1731. Finally, we have a date. She would pass away at the incredible age of 75, and she would leave us with about 48 descendants as of 1729. Just a remarkable life. Charles would follow her a little more than 6 months later, and they had been married an astonishing 37 years. Absolutely wonderful. So she got her happy ending. She actually had 2 happy marriages. So that's, even though we don't know a lot about her, we know that she was able to withstand tragic loss and carry on. So we say goodbye to Marguerite. I love this story because of the fact that they were both so young. There she was, 14 years old. Can you imagine? 14 years old coming to this new country and then getting married to a fairly young guy too. And so then they start their life together. And of course, the tragedy ensues. But she carried on and kept on going. And with her second husband, she was able to carry out a life and was married to him for 30 odd years, 37. Just amazing story. Again, the endurance and the strength of these women really tells the tale. So I am so grateful to Marguerite for her journey, for her bravery, that leap of faith that said, let me go to the new world at 14 years of age and let me start a new life. All your descendants are extraordinarily grateful. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to my patrons, supporters, and subscribers. You are truly the wind beneath my wings. And I will say goodbye until the next episode of Les Filles du Roi. Until then, au revoir.